Hello there, my name is Rachel. Let's talk about animation. Today we talk about the season finale of Hilda, season 3. Oh my god, this series was basically the end of an era because Hilda is one of those shows they follow the type of genre of the sort of epic cartoon. Starts something slow and ends something really big. Something like RPG. Like if you never play an RPG, you start with, oh, look for an apple. End of the RPG, time to kill God. And that's basically this sort of epic adventure type of cartoon really is. That sort of adventure, doing something crazy. And I love how that they really stick that sort of fantasy world, that sort of great universe that you never really done to explore. But also has its drawbacks being sort of adventure because Hilda really not realizing her all her adventures can also give her a bad reputation because in this final season, she sort of struggles to make new friends, or the people around her who she lived with her hometown don't really like her that much because she's the one who always brings trouble into the town, and she sort of kind of recognized that because it's starting to mess with her, especially when she trying to get sort of like a badge or her basically her Boy Scouts troop that every time she needs a fourth member she struggles. Also realizing her friends also affected because of Hilda, but I love they sort of explore that a little bit. But especially one of the biggest things about season 3 that you believe they have nothing else to explore because they actually use all the books of the original franchise of the first two seasons. Even the movie between season 2 season 3 sort of ties all the minor stories telling, the plot B, C, and D, all of them wrapped up. You thinking, what else you have of this final season? Well, they sort of connected asking that question, why do Hilda has blue hair? And they actually have a very interesting, sort of cliche reason why she had blue hair. It's all connected to Hilda's mom, connected to the missing parents of Hilda's mom, the reason she left her hometown, the reason why her aunt raised her mom, and all the secrets they have in the family. It's it's just sort of one big connection each single episode. The reason why she had blue hair because she's a half fairy. And I was sort of surprised, but also a little disappointed because that's sort of a cliche, but yet done so well. That it sort of starts with, oh, why when she comes to the town asking this question, why you all everybody has sort of kind of shoe horse tied to the door. They sort of beware of fairies because they try to back off the fairy, try to defend them. Something like Cherbourg, but a little bit different because they doesn't really exist. Fairy are basically extinct. At least that's what the people believe. And you think, oh well, they're dead, that they're not existing. But because Hilda being Hilda, she needs to know what actually going on, and accidentally sort of kind of broke a contract that she doesn't really realize that actually was a contract. Now you have two other fairies hunting her down, not realizing and messing with her in several episodes. They always there watching her, doing something behind the scenes, but you just don't get. But a little bit it's sort of starting to affect her in the way because she started hearing voices, started hearing nightmares about them, almost chasing her to the end of the earth. And that shit is kind of terrifying because you really didn't know why this was happening, and also why her mom doesn't remember why she left because everything is about Hilda's mom, the reason why she left, what connection to her family, that it was sort of dying, and her family made sort of a deal about this sort of kind of fairy god in a way that if we save her, he kept the keeper in fairy world. But instead, they sort of reverse the contract, saying, no, the parents leave, the child stays in human world. But because her aunt was there raising her, decided to erase her memory to make her sort of life a little bit more easier. But the pain's still there. This is the reason why she left. They also explains why Hilda's hair is blue because how fairy people color is blue, and I thought that's sort of interesting. Like it sort of explains why she has blue hair, But certainly explains why Hilda's mom has blue hair, maybe because her father is half human. I mean, her mother has human. But besides that, I thought it sort of fascinating that they have to go back because they broke the contract, trying to drag her back in, and she trying to avoid it. But it sort of got stuck in the middle because her father, her pixie father, reappeared out of nowhere. I'm knowing he got dragged to the fairy world. Now Hilda trying to get him back out of the fairy world. But out of nowhere, they also drop another sort of character on season 2, if I remember right. The scientist who does questionable things about fairy creatures. That if you remember the doctor, that she was sort of kind of self-punish herself of this sort of island that nobody knows what's gonna happen to her, or that's her end story. No, this final season she bring her back, and she has a very important part of this story that she is sort of still a reflection of Hilda, that sort of self-assess of the adventure or the discovery of things that you think it would be a punishment. She's stuck in this sort of fairy world, but the opposite. She was glad she was stuck because she can't really connect with people. She only connects with science and fairies. And that's sort of interesting because you can see Hilda becoming that like her, but she never saw it as a bad thing because later on in the series, she has a choice to stay in the fairy world or stay in the human. But at the very end, part of her will be sort of empty and she had to accept that, especially how the contract sort of ended up. Someone need to stay in fairy world, and I was sort of fascinated what the thing she decided to do is just leave because she's still human. She still have connections of the other side, friends, home, other friends, the town she lived in. She doesn't hate it. She had to sort of give up some eventually just to be sort of satisfying, that sort of that's giving up more understanding how to balance life in a way. And that's sort of interesting, especially the our finale of the whole series, how grand and big the choices you make to make her life more likable, more durable in other words. But yet, I really did enjoy it, especially how they explore Hilda's mom, her pain and trauma that she felt her parents left her, but she never understood. Her parents never technically left. They didn't have a choice. It's them or her, and they prefer her, so they bent themselves to protect her. And I love it that sort of repeats again to Hilda's mom and her, or her father and her, that someone needs to sacrifice so that one can live, or at least have a normal life. And I thought it was sort of interesting how everything sort of kind of ends up that sort of interesting situation. But at the very end, they never went that dark. It just sort of things happen. You can't really deal with it. You just move forward with it. And I love it how they sort of handled that sort of story arc. It was just fun, interesting, and very thoughtful because you really understood Hilda's sort of position. She just doesn't know when to stop, to do stop, especially asking that question of one of the episodes that are trying to the giants, like trying to convince them to stay, but you can't convince someone to stay when they made a decision a long time ago. And that's sort of life lessons that takes a long time to actually grasp now words. And I found that sort of fascinating how well handled that really was. But I don't know, you really love this series, you like the season finale, the answer they give, or you think it was good but not amazing. Tell me down below, let me know. Honestly, I got not much to say. Just thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day. Bye.